Not gonna lie, I got trolled by this chapter of Taizai. I was reading it like normal, got to the final page when it was trying to reveal who the fourth Archangel was, and half of the page loaded. It had Estarossa on it, and it said the fourth Archangel, and I'm like, wait, whoa, what? Like, Estarossa is an Archangel? That's what I started thinking. I was like freaking out. I'm like, wait, if that really is true, then there's just so many things I could discuss about this. But then the page finished loading, and then we found out Estarossa was on top of the Archangel, basically obliterated the man. So I was like, okay, that makes more sense. But yeah, did anyone else get freaked out about that? Am I the only one? Am I the only one today that had half the page load, and then you thought Estarossa was like one of the Archangels or something? Because when it comes to fallen angels, it is a big thing. I mean, it's a big thing in stories. I think everybody knows about that. I mean, have you ever heard the stories of, you know, like an angel falling from heaven down to the ground, a fallen angel? It's a big thing in literature and all that, so I thought that was what was going on. Maybe Estarossa was a fallen angel, but then, you know, it got clarified. It's like, okay, that makes more sense. But, let's also point something out, okay? Estarossa apparently dominated Mel, one of the Archangels, okay? Estarossa. Now, let's, backtrack a bit, okay? Let's just, back up. Okay, let's back up about 70 chapters, maybe 70, 50, so around there, okay? Back up 50 to 70 chapters. Basically, as we know, there was a fight between Estarossa and Escanor. And we all know who won that. You know, Escanor hit Estarossa so hard, he was in a bubble bath for over, like, 50 plus chapters, okay? The man was wrecked, okay? He was sitting in his bubble bath healing, okay? His test tube and all that. And Escanor whooped that man. Apparently, from what we can get from this chapter, is that Estarossa is above the Archangels because he took one of them out, and that would mean that Escanor is above the Archangels as well, since he's above Estarossa. So, Escanor, still OP as hell. But this also explains how strong Meliodas is, because, I mean, we remember the fight, Meliodas and Escanor, and how crazy that was. So, when you think about it, Meliodas' strength, he might be able to wipe out majority of the Archangels by himself. That's a possibility because of the information we got from this chapter, because Estarossa whooped an Archangel. Now, we don't know exactly how it went down. For all we know, Estarossa could have done a cheap shot and just, you know, hit the man in the back. Possibility, but I doubt that. But overall, though, Estarossa beat Archangel, Escanor beat Estarossa, so Escanor is on top, and then Meliodas is near Escanor's level, so that would mean that Meliodas would just dominate. So, yeah. Anyways, getting off of that, though, let's talk about a couple of scenes that just truly I appreciate. As a fan of the series, it makes me appreciate, you know, how some of these characters have just changed so much since the very beginning. Number one, Elizabeth, okay? Let's talk about Elizabeth and what happened at the first segment of this chapter. Elizabeth was talking to her father. Now, we all know by now that even though he is the king of the capital and all that, he's not necessarily blood related to Elizabeth. You know, Elizabeth now knows that. We now know this, and we already know all those details. However, it doesn't mean that she can't look at him like a father figure, and that's, you know, raised her all her life, because he did. And we have a very heart-to-heart convo between the two characters, and it's just a very sweet scene, because Elizabeth knows her time is drawing to an end. She is about to be bye-bye, you know, gone, and she will never be able to remember them ever again. And when she does remember them, that would mean that she is going to die again. So, it's just a lot of sadness when you think about it, and you're like, yo, like, even though we know for a fact she won't be gone, she won't be permanently dead, even if she does die. It's just sad because everybody else, you know, they'll remember, but, you know, Elizabeth won't, and she will have to carry on with this curse, and Meliodas will as well. And it's just a sad way to view the chapter when you see that, and how he's like, you know, I want you to come home too, but she's like, let me spend my last 2 days with you, father, you know, as your daughter. I was like, man, that's emotional. And then we move over into the second part of the chapter. We move into the Dreyfus and stuff, like Dreyfus and his son, Grimoire. That was also very emotional, because Dreyfus has been a character that's always been a fascinating character to me. I've always liked his character. Ever since he was introduced, and we were kind of introduced to him, we didn't know we were actually getting introduced to Fraudrin. We were actually saying Fraudrin instead of Dreyfus, but I always liked the character. And over many chapters of just seeing Frodran inside of Dreyfus's body, it's kind of like they both became one. They both became one entity in a way. They both had their own viewpoints and all that, what they wanted, but overall, they did kind of agree on a lot of things. Especially when it came to Dreyfus's son. And Frodran started to view Dreyfus's son as like a son to him as well, and it changed him in a lot of ways. And you could see in this chapter that Dreyfus has learned quite a bit from Frodran. He has taken some knowledge. Even Frodran went out of his way to share stuff with Dreyfus. Certain key important details that is just insane. He shared his memories with him, and so Dreyfus now knows that he can't really trust the Goddess Clan that well, because they have the capabilities of doing brainwashing the individuals, which most likely is what's going on with Hindi. Now, this is debatable right now. I mean, Hindi is a druid, and so he could just be infatuated with the Goddess Clan, and that's why he's acting like he is, but regardless if he's brainwashed or not, he's acting weird. But it's very obvious that the Pleiades, or whatever how you pronounce their name in this chapter, they were definitely brainwashed. Because right before we saw that entire thing with them, we had the entire mentioning of Goddess Clan being able to brainwash people, okay? That doesn't just get mentioned in a chapter, and when you see characters that are against the Goddess Clan, all of a sudden wanting to work with the Goddess Clan. It's obvious brainwashing. That's what happened right there. So, the Pleiades, they got brainwashed. They are now working for the Goddess Clan. So, yeah. Once again, Rudisill, he's a scummy man. He's a really scummy man. Now, I know many are going to be talking about the tears we saw from the man. Crocodile tears. Straight up crocodile tears. There's just no way. It's crocodile tears. Now, if it is legit tears, most likely it's Margaret within him. As we know, it is Margaret's body. And most likely he has the capabilities of probably allowing Margaret to come to the surface if he chooses to. So that would mean that he could just have her emotions come out and all of that, make her feel sad or whatever, and then show it real quick, and then just, you know, repress her a lot more for she's no longer on the surface anymore. That's basically what happened there. So, yeah. I just say crocodile tears. Rudisill is not a good man at all, and he obviously brainwashed the Pleiades in this chapter. Just, seriously, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to realize that's what exactly he did this week. Now, besides all of that, though, let's also talk about the mentioning of Mel, the archangel that apparently fell and died. So, that obviously is a very sore spot to Rudisill and the other two archangels. Very sore spot. Like, it's a very big thing to their character. It seems like it really bothers them. And their emotions, from the way they acted, it seems like either they don't like the man, or they cared so much about the man that they're just upset that he is gone. Now, I'm going to assume that we didn't get the full entire story, because since Hindi is such a good follower to the Goddess Clan, I highly doubt Rudisill would reveal everything about it. He's a known liar and all that. So I'm going to assume that there's more to the story than what we saw, and that most likely, if I had to assume anything, Mel might have not agreed with the Archangels and what they were doing. That's what makes me assume things. Maybe he was set up to die in a way. Possibility. What if he was set up to die by Estarossa or something else happened? Or this might explain why Estarossa has a certain fascination with Elizabeth. We know for a fact he has this attachment to her for some reason. We don't really know why, but Estarossa has that. And we know a long time ago he was also in Elizabeth's dream. Well, we know this. They had the connection with that, too. And so, it's weird that Estarossa would want to, you know, have Elizabeth and all of that. It makes you question a lot, like, what's going on between them. And if I had to assume anything, it might have something to do with the Archangel that Estarossa took down, Mel. It might be that. Maybe, Mel either manipulated Estarossa in a way for Estarossa has to do something for Elizabeth, or, you know, go after Elizabeth, or maybe he has a fascination with Elizabeth because he knows something about her that we do not. I mean, there's a lot of questions I have, but that's the only thing I can really pull from that event, because, I mean, with that connection with Estarossa taking down one of the Archangels, it's obvious that's probably the reason why he's drawn to Elizabeth. Just pointing that out. So, besides all of that, I think that's about it. I think that's about it when it comes to this chapter. I mean, it's a good chapter. It had a lot of details. We got to see, sweet scenes throughout this chapter with, Dreyfus and his son. We got to see Elizabeth and her father. I mean, we got some really good scenes in this chapter, and we got our first glimpse at really seeing the Goddess Clan manipulating and brainwashing people. So it's turning out to get, really started. Like, this arc is getting started, it's getting fascinating, and I think many can agree with me. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful, wonderful day or night wherever you live. And if you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. Please be safe, stay healthy, stay warm. Chibi out.